Great, thank you, Dave and the panel. We're going to make a quick introduction into the next segment, which is the ARF's next wave of original research. As you're all aware, this initiative has been going on since over the past several years, led by the ARF research team of Jasper Snyder, Chris Bacon, Horst Stipp, and Manuel Garcia Garcia. At this event last year, let's see if we go to the slides. Yes, thank you so much. At this event last year, the ARF unveiled groundbreaking original research on how advertising works. The organization engaged dozens of industry leaders to set the agenda and then went out to enlist the support of best-in-class partners and sponsors to invest a significant resource in executing the 3 ground truth experiments. You'll recall that the 3 experiments were focused on cross-platform ROI, using creative and neuroscience tools which were newly available to us, and evaluating mobile mastery and enhancing research quality. We've got some metrics. We're research folks, so we've got a number of metrics here. There were 2 articles published in the JAR. The insights have been shared with over 150 times on our Knowledge Center. Over 600 people have attended 3 webcasts on the experiments. Over 4,000 people have attended our events to learn about this. We've published this to more than 15,000 members, and we've had bespoke conversations with different clients about this as well. Building on this success, you'll see the pillars for the next 3 sections that we're working on: creative, effective mobile advertising, optimizing mobile research by speaking the consumer's language, and maximizing media ROI by understanding the trade-offs in targeting versus context. Over the next 2 days, you'll learn more about this, and to lead the initiative is Manuel Garcia Garcia and Chris Bacon. First up is Chris Bacon. He's our EVP of Global Research and Quality. Welcome, Chris.
Because you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass,
Thank you, Jed. Thank you. And I have to admit, where's Dave? Dave, I did start paying my own bills at 23. So, okay, I guess that doesn't make me a millennial. I think that still makes me a boomer. And I did leave my parents' house at that same age. And for those of you who remember the CBS sitcom Rhoda, yes, hands? Yes, exactly. Yeah, as she says in the opening of Rhoda, my mother still refers to that as the day I ran away from home. So what we want to do is this. Nope, back up. There you go, guys. So we want to share with you some of our original research, building on what we talked about last year of how do we really optimize consumer surveys on these little devices. So let me say, show of hands again. How many folks have ever taken a survey on your mobile phone? Yeah. And how many of you have stopped taking that survey on your mobile phone? Thank you. Okay, yes, you're being very honest this morning. I appreciate it. Look, I think the thing we want to remember is this. The online research business is still a $13.7 billion business. We invest quite a bit to understand our consumers in the online space. And according to SMAR, this figure in 2015 has actually grown 6% over the year-ago period. So we are talking about significant dollars. The thing to think about is this. When the online research business was really at its height, 94% of consumers were responding on a PC. Only 4% were using this little device. That has changed. In 2016, upwards of 29% of consumers are starting a survey on this device. That's a 7-fold increase in just 5 years. However, the number of people who stop taking that survey on this device is much higher than on PCs or on tablets. So think about it. We're in a business that's growing. You've got more people who are responding on this device than ever, and yet fewer of them are completing the survey on this device. That's not a good business proposition. So what we had said last year was this: recharge the battery on your mobile research. We talked about growth generations on mobile. Yes, it does tend to be millennial and multicultural consumers responding on mobile, but the two things I want to focus on today. One is this: how do you keep your survey length to 10 minutes or less? And how do you design a survey that is thumb-friendly? Okay, so think about, how do people currently talk on this device? How do we speak their language? Emojis, visuals, text. The way that the communication has evolved, we used to talk about SMS, text. Now it's visual. I can communicate very easily and tell people what I'm thinking or feeling with a visual. So we said, okay, is there a way for us to learn and adapt how consumers already talk on these devices in our survey designs? So, working with our partners GfK and Focus Vision, we were able to do 2 different experiments. And I should also note that we wouldn't have been able to do those 2 experiments without the contributions of our sample partners at Ipsos, Research Now, and SSI, and we thank all 3 of them very much for their contributions to this effort. Combined between both experiments, nearly 13,000 people participated in these surveys, all 18 or over. With GfK, we focused on asking them about brand perceptions, brand attitudes, brand awareness, and even some standard surveys like the general attitude survey, and I always forget, the GSS. With Focus Vision, we actually asked people about foods. We tried to wear them out. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We had 3 device options. We said, look, we had some folks who were responding on PCs. We had other on phones, because we wanted to have that side-by-side comparison. Now, I will confess, we weren't exactly within our guidelines on survey length. With GfK, we went into our yellow zone with a survey length of 11 minutes or 14 minutes. With Focus Vision, we kept it to 10. But also, as you'll see, there's a little bit more leeway and latitude in the length of interview based on what we've learned here. And then finally, we had 3 response options. We had emojis, we had traditional semantic labels and text, and we also included numeric responses, because look, a number is a number. You can't, one of the things in great survey design is that you need to be very clear. We all know you need to be very clear in how you ask the question and in the response options that you give consumers to reply. If there's uncertainty or lack of clarity in those response options, you can't necessarily trust the data that you get back. That's why we also included a numeric option. So what does success look like here? Do we see A, same drop-off rates across device? That doesn't happen now. Smartphones are higher. B, do we have equal data quality across those 3 response options? Are their mean scores comparable? Do we get the same rank order? And are we getting equal predictive validity of behaviors? And then finally, C, can we deliver a better survey experience for our consumers? So let me share with you what we learned. Let's start with drop-off rates. Whether it was on a desktop, a tablet, or a smartphone, drop-off rates were near equal across device, and whether it was a text, a numeric option, or an emoji. And most importantly, for all devices and all options, the drop-off rate was half that industry average. Basically, all boats rise. That's a good thing. 2, mean ratings for brands are equal. So again, we came back and said, is the data the same across the scales and device options? I challenge anybody to find differences in those mean rating lines, okay? I think they're the same. That's a good thing. And when we ask people their awareness and how would they rate different brands, this was a set of brands that we had from our FOQ study on online research in 2013. We see the same pattern, whether it's the question was asked in a text, an emoji, or a numeric scale. And we see basically almost the same levels. So, again, the rank order is equal. That's a good thing. Now, I want to be transparent here because I can't say that everything was perfect. One of the things we learned with our focus vision study, and again, we asked people about foods. We asked them, what have you eaten? We've asked them, how satisfied were you? Interesting with when you ask people about satisfaction with different foods, when you show them a picture of a burger or pizza, it seems to communicate or tap into something that makes them more satisfied with that food than when you just write the word hamburger or pizza. So it's a guardrail here, and we'll talk more about this later. Emojis may lead to slightly higher satisfaction ratings, so that's something we have to think about, but it shouldn't stop us from experimenting. So number 3, the question was, could we improve the survey experience? Actually, the survey experience was equal across devices and across response options. So they enjoyed it equally well whether or not they were on their smartphone, their PC, or tablet. So I consider that still a good thing. And we dug a little bit deeper. We looked not just at mean scores, we looked at top box ratings for satisfaction and enjoyment. And we see that those folks who were shown the emoji survey on their smartphone had a higher top box enjoyability rating than those who saw the text. So I'd say when it came to survey experience, we delivered as well and perhaps even better. So I think we're getting there. We're certainly making improvements. So let me come back to another piece that I talked about earlier. If you remember, I said one of the reasons we wanted to experiment with numbers is to make sure that the response options are the same. And one of the things we did learn here is that not all emojis are created equal. So with Focus Vision, what we did was we showed people an emoji and we asked them open-ended, what's the one word that describes what this emoji represents? So we're looking for consistency here. Some like a happy face, that's consistent, okay? 92% of people said open-ended, oh yeah, that's happy. Okay, good. I feel good about using that emoji. Even sad, okay? 88% of people say that's sad. Good, okay. I know that I can trust if I use that emoji on a survey to represent sad, people will understand that. But I will say there's some that there is lack of consistency. So the Unicode, now apparently the official code for this is called a Grimacing Face. Okay? There is no broad consensus on what this emoji means. There is nervous, scared, frustrated, even happy. Okay? I don't know that I want to meet somebody who smiles like this. Okay? The point I would say is this. So when you're thinking about using and experimenting with emojis, choose wisely. Okay? Know what it is you're trying to communicate and recognize there will be unintended communication in some of the choices you make. So, did we succeed? Drop-off rates were parity across devices. We had equal data quality across response options. And yes, the survey experience was as good and perhaps even better. So, I still say we get a thumbs up, maybe a moderate thumbs up. So, let's go back to how we set this up to start with. We said keep the survey length to 10 minutes or less, and I know we pushed into our yellow zone with 11 and 14-minute surveys. I would say to you, look, I'd still recommend keeping to 10 minutes or less, because I think all of us have dealt with that CMO, marketing VP who says, just one more question. No, just one more question, one more question, one more question. And before you know it, if we push the limit up to 15 minutes, that one more question is going to get you to 20, and that's going to get us into a bad place. So I still recommend we keep to 10 minutes or less. And we can do that, and we can design thumb-friendly surveys. I think what we've demonstrated here is that we've got a range of options that we can add to our toolkit. Because if we keep surveys mobile optimized and use response enhancements, if we design more surveys, if we go back to think about a $13.7 billion global business, as I said, all boats rise with these more surveys. We were able to reduce drop-off rates in half. And if you take that kind of efficiencies, you take that kind of potential savings to reinvest, that more opportunity on a $13.7 billion business could be as much as $2 billion. Being able to reinvest $2 billion to understand our consumers is a pretty significant opportunity. And I think that makes us all pretty happy to be able to do that. But as I said, I encourage us to be brave, okay? We're going to go through more detail. I just gave you an overview and a summary right now. After the coffee break, Randy Thomas and Francis Barlas from GfK and Ryan Baum and Zoe Dowling from Focus Vision will be joining me in the Americas stage. I think we're upstairs at 11:20. And we're going to go through more of the details. Because, look, there are guardrails. There are guardrails we want to share because we recognize there are a lot of folks who have trended data. How does this affect my trends? We realize that making that transition is never easy. But as Scott said this morning, be brave. Try it. Do it. Your consumers will welcome it. They will stay with you. They will respond to more of your surveys. It's worth the investment. So with that, I thank you. And it's now my pleasure to invite Manuel Garcia to the stage to continue to talk about mobile and creating more effective mobile advertising. Manuel?